What's going on, everybody? My name is Air Samurai. Welcome to the channel.
Excellent.
Alright, so the very first thing I feel like you need to know in terms of crafting your own thumbnails is you need to know what your audience likes and what other content creators are putting out in that particular genre. To do this, type in the keyword that your YouTube audience is searching the most into YouTube in order to be able to get that keyword research. From here, you can see every content creator's thumbnails and what is working well for them. And this is just my subjective opinion about it. But from that standpoint, you want to look at everything that they're doing and then you want to ask yourself, what can I do that can make my thumbnail look different from everybody else that is also a part of this community? And the easiest way for you guys to do that is to just simply be yourself. So all you're gonna do is you're gonna take your hobbies, your interests, the things that you're into, the things that you like, and you're gonna kind of try to find ways to integrate that stuff into your thumbnails. So if you like anime, make thumbnails that are based in your community but have more of an anime feel. If you like DC Comics, if you like Marvel, whatever it is that you like, it doesn't matter. If you like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, find a way to put PB and J color schemes into your thumbnails. It doesn't matter, guys. And then what you want to do is you want to take those things and you want to combine them in a way that gives you some sort of sense of uniformity without being overbearing and having too many elements. But we'll get to the element part in just 1 second. The reason why this is so important is because you want your thumbnails to stand out from the crowd. They can only stand out if you add in elements of you. Number 2 is subject matter. For your subject matter, this is a 2-part kind of explanation, so bear with me. For your subject matter, you want to be able to use a maximum of 3 elements. Now, with those 3 elements are going to go from big to medium to small in the frame of the composition of your thumbnail, and they're going to go in order of importance. So, for instance, whatever it is that you're trying to say mostly about NBA 2K to be able to grab someone's attention, that needs to be the biggest element. Sometimes, for the most part, you can get away with just doing 1 element. A lot of people do if the element is expressive enough, but you don't want to go over 3 elements, because when you do go over 3 elements, what it does is it gives the viewer too much to focus on, because you're trying to design your thumbnail to be a snapshot. So that way when someone is scrolling down their feed, I primarily look at YouTube on my phone. When somebody's scrolling down their feed, you want to be able to put out an image that captures somebody like that. And it's easier to capture somebody when you have less elements in the frame, and those elements are cohesive and they're not competing for attention against one another. People need to be able to look at it, like turn their heads, look at your screenshot, and instantly know what's going on. Your main element needs to make a viewer go, what's that? The overall goal of that is for you to stick out like a sore thumb, but in a good way. And last but not least, well, kind of least, because the other 2 elements are actually more important in it, but the last element is color. Now, there are instances, especially when you're dealing with children's media, or if you're trying to draw a certain crowd, when you're trying to get more kids to view content, you definitely want to go with colors that are a lot brighter. But there are instances, if you're looking at the totality of everybody else in the community that is also making their thumbnails, sometimes you can experiment and literally try to make thumbnails that go counterculture to what is actually happening. Just every once in a while. I'm not saying to do it and make it a constant thing, but you can kind of go counterculture, go more darker colors or whatever it is, in order for your video to kind of pop or stick out more. Because remember, it's making thumbnails is kind of like when people make paintings and they stick them in an art gallery, and then you go into the art gallery and everybody's in there, and then they're looking at the paintings, and all of the paintings are lined up. So what visually happens is that all of the paintings kind of do this, but you as a content creator, you want to stick out. So in order for you to stick out, right, if you kind of have a sense of what everybody else is doing, then you as a content creator, you can make a thumbnail that when it's lined up, or it's, you know, in this stack of all of these other thumbnails, you can make a thumbnail that kind of pops and kicks more than everything else based off of the things that we discussed, specifically your subject matter in the self-expressive elements that you add into the thumbnail. Now, these are not things that you need to be 100% technically savvy in order to be able to do. There's a lot of different cheats and a lot of different ways. It doesn't have to be a perfect thumbnail. It just has to be interesting. So you're aiming for interesting. You're aiming for interesting in subject matter. And if you take a look at some of my thumbnails on my channel, a lot of the anime inspired things, yes, no, I don't have a big following or whatever it is, but my thumbnails have a distinct quality to them that put me in a position where I can make this be something that kind of uniformly fits on my channel. And then as I continue to try to build a brand for myself here, I can continue to put myself in a position where when you see a thumbnail, boom, you know that's an Air Samurai thumbnail. There's no questions, no ifs or ands or buts about it. Now, you don't have to do these things, but I do think that if you try them, it is worth a shot if you're trying to do something different for your thumbnails and trying to create some sort of visual interest in terms of trying to pull more people in. It never hurts to experiment or to try, like I said, but I'm just giving you kind of my perspective of all of the hours of research that I've done on it, and also from coming from an artist background and kind of knowing what works in a lot of different settings. By the way, if you need help picking colors for your particular brand, you can always use Adobe's color wheel. I believe it's still free, or you can use just an online color wheel. And basically what it does is you go on there and you pick one color, and then it changes based off of what kind of setting you have on the left hand side, if it's analogous or it's monochromatic or whatever it is. You can pick one of those colors, and then it will pick other colors that also fit along with that color that create color harmony. So you can pick one, and then, like, let's say for instance you pick yellow or something, and then yellow will go and coincide with like blue, and then it'll add a couple of different other colors on there. And then if you take those colors and you put them into your frame and like add them to different elements, what that does visually for a person is it automatically puts them in a mindset to have color harmony. So that way as well, when they get a snapshot of your thumbnail, it kind of helps. But like I said, that's all subjective. You don't have to do that with the color wheel or whatever it is. But if you want to go the extra mile and you want to put that in there in order to be able to get colors that may appeal more to the audience that you're trying to target, this may very well help y'all a whole lot. All right, guys, if you need more help with thumbnails and different things like that artistically, let me know down below in the comment section. And until next time, my name is Air Samurai. Happy Saturday.